the hazy shadow of dawn, where the last stars lingered in the sky, Serapion walked along the ancient stone path leading to his academy. Each step seemed to touch the breath of the universe, as if the earth and the heavens moved in harmony with him. Towering branches bent with the wind yet held a quiet space, yielding to the sounds of mind and soul. Serapion paused before a tranquil lake, where the sky reflected like an endless mirror. He bent down, touched the water, and ripples spread out like the primordial rhythm of the cosmos. Every moment, he whispered, is a seed. An action, a thought, an emotion. All compose a grand symphony, where every soul resonates, even when it does not realize it. The disciples around him listened, eyes wide as if trying to see through every layer of space. And in that moment, Serapion began to speak of secrets hidden since before the universe was formed, of the primordial sound rhythms that brought forth light, matter, and ultimately life itself. The story of Serapion, the symphony of the universe. Long ago, in an age unrecorded by any epic, when humans could not yet distinguish between myth and reality, there lived a man named Serapion. He was neither a king nor a renowned prophet of ancient scriptures, but an ordinary man whose mind touched the deepest layers of the universe. It was said that Serapion once sat by the edge of a desert, watching the swirling winds of dust, smiling as if he could hear a secret melody. He perceived the rhythm of all things, where each grain of sand, each blade of grass, and every human breath vibrated within the same endless symphony. Serapion began his teachings with a simple yet profound truth. The world is not the solid rock our eyes perceive, but an invisible field of oscillations. He explained to his disciples that every atom, every star, every heart does not remain still, but flickers like sparks, appearing and disappearing dozens of times per second. We may believe that our hands rest upon stone, that our bodies are continuous, but in truth, all is merely waves of interference. Those quiet enough to peer through this veil would see the universe as a colossal musical instrument, vibrating with unseen strings. You, Serapion said, are not separate entities. You are notes, small patterns in a grand composition. But because you have forgotten this melody, you imagine yourselves as separate. In reality, all is one. For Serapion, consciousness was not generated within the brain, as many sages of the time believed. He likened the brain to a radio, while the signal, consciousness, originated from a universal field that encompassed everything. Those who lose part of their brain, or those with multiple personalities in a single body, were merely evidence that the physical body is not the source of the soul. The brain merely tunes the frequency. The source of conscious light is infinite. On moonlit nights, Serapion often led his disciples outside the city, where the wind swept across empty fields. He taught them to listen to the flicker of the world. All things disappear and return 45,000 times in a single blink. And it is in that moment of disappearance that you may find freedom. Meditation is merely a way to extend that void, to dwell in the stillness between two pulses of the universe. Hearing this, many shivered, as if realizing that death itself is only a pause before the symphony resumes. Serapion was passionate about music. He once used a large drum, scattered sand on its surface and tapped gently. The grains of sand arranged themselves into mysterious patterns as if following an invisible law. He pointed to them and said, "This is how the stars align. This is how your form is shaped in the womb. Sound, vibration, rhythm. These are the true hands of God." Those who listened to Serapion saw him as both a dreamer and a sage. Some considered him mad for claiming that love and gravity are one. Yet Serapion insisted, "What difference is there between the force that makes the earth orbit the sun, and the force that draws your souls to each other? Both are currents pulling all things toward their source. Love is spiritual attraction. Without it, planets would scatter, and hearts would turn to dust." He also shared a revelation that astonished his listeners. Humanity lives within an illusion, a vast holographic field. What the eyes perceive is only a reflection, like looking into a mirror. One imagines seeing the true body, but it is merely light. The universe is the same, only a screen for a deeper reality where pure consciousness reigns. According to Serapion, souls do not vanish after death. They merely withdraw from this holographic field to return to the original rhythm, before reincarnating in another form, like a note returning to the endless symphony. When Serapion passed away, it was said that the sky trembled as if strummed by invisible strings. He died in an unexpected accident, yet his disciples believed he had merely stepped into another oscillation, like a pendulum reaching its pause before swinging again. They built a small temple, without statues or images, only an empty drum at its center. They said this is the music of the universe where Serapion still keeps the rhythm. The story of Serapion, Part 2, The Veil of Illusion. After Serapion departed, his disciples continued to pass down his words as if they were a scripture carved not in stone but in sound. It was said that one night, when the moon hung full in the sky, one of Serapion's students dreamed of him. In the dream, Serapion stood amid a veil of light, each thread not a fiber, but shimmering oscillations, like an endless network of stars. He smiled and said, "This is your true place. The world you see every day is only a shadow reflected on this veil." The dream spread, and people called it the image of the cosmic veil. Serapion explained that the universe functions like a three-dimensional field, a colossal hologram. When a part of the hologram is cut out, the whole image still exists in each fragment. Therefore, every human is not merely an individual but contains the entire universe within. You do not merely live in the universe, he said, the universe also lives within you. To make it understandable, Serapion told a simple story. Imagine a still pond. If a pebble drops in, ripples spread across its surface. Now if another pebble falls far away, the ripples interfere. The world works the same way. Overlapping, interacting oscillations form the images we take to be solid. In reality, everything is just successive waves in an invisible ocean. On another occasion, Serapion spoke of dreams. You think dreams are unreal and the day is real. But how do you know which is true? When you dream, you laugh, you cry, you feel fear. In that moment, the dream is real. Likewise, this world is only a larger dream, a dream of cosmic consciousness. You are living within it, and you call it reality. Those who heard him were puzzled, yet a deep doubt arose in their hearts. Perhaps all the suffering and ambitions they clung to had no lasting foundation. Serapion did not stop at metaphors. He spoke of time, which humans always believe to flow unceasingly. He taught that time is not a river moving from past to future, but a complete cosmic block. Past, present, and future all coexist, like musical notes already written in a score. We hear each note one by one, so it seems like a flow. But stepping outside, one would perceive the entire symphony at once. To illustrate, Serapion said, a painter completes a painting. Once finished, the artwork contains the beginning, middle, and end. A viewer can see any part at once. The universe is the same, it is already painted, yet you walk across it stroke by stroke, thinking it is a timeline. These words made many ponder destiny. They asked, if everything is already written, do we have any freedom? Serapion smiled. A musical score has a fixed melody, but in every beat, the musician can still play with variation, still imbue it with their own soul. Freedom lies in how you live within the established rhythm, not in escaping the music. You cannot flee the song, but you can make it your own. One day, Serapion led his students to a mountaintop, away from the clamor of the world. He handed them a mirror. Look into the mirror, and you see your face. But if I break the mirror into 1,000 pieces, each shard still reflects the whole face. You are such shards. The entire universe is reflected in each of you, yet you forget, and so think of yourselves as mere fragments. Here he paused for a long while. Only the wind blew. In that silence, the disciples felt their hearts expand, as if containing the whole sky and earth. They suddenly understood that love, compassion, and resonance with others are ways of remembering that wholeness. It was said that Serapion also met strangers from distant lands who carried knowledge of stars and methods to guide the soul's journey. He noticed a strange resonance between their words and what he had intuited. They spoke of gates of consciousness, through which the soul could leave the body and travel to other realms. Serapion said this was not illusion, but a truth attainable if one learned to align with the universe's frequency. He reminded them that the body is merely a shell, while the soul is like light, able to go anywhere when we learn to adjust. From then on, many came to Serapion to learn how to hear the vibrations. He did not teach through books or theory. He placed a hand on his heart and said, "Listen to this beat. Within each pulse, the universe resounds. If you listen long enough, you will hear the heartbeat of the earth, of the sun, and of the stars." The Story of Serapion, Part 3. The Covenant with the Universe. Once a disciple asked Serapion, "Master, if all is but vibration, if the body is merely an image on the veil of illusion, then what is the soul? And why must it enter a body to endure suffering, sickness, and death?" Serapion gazed into the distance, his eyes reflecting the sky, then replied, "The soul is like sunlight. When it passes through a narrow window, it becomes a small beam, shining into a dark room. The body is that room. Without the room, you would not know that light exists. But light is never truly imprisoned. It only pauses so that you may learn the lesson of existence." He told his disciples an ancient legend, that from the beginning, the entire universe was a single sphere of light. This sphere carried pure love, yet it was alone, unaware of itself. So it split, exploding into countless fragments. These became stars, planets, and souls. This separation was not an accident, but an eternal covenant. Each fragment would wander, experience forgetfulness, and eventually find its way back to the original source of light. That is why you feel that love is the strongest longing, Serapion explained. Not because you are seeking another person, but because your soul always yearns to return to the whole. Human love is merely a bridge, a reminder that a universal love awaits. Another disciple asks, "Then aren't we all bound by destiny to return? What choice do we have?" Serapion smiled gently. When a drop of water falls into a river, it will inevitably reach the sea. But along the way it may sing with the reeds, draw ripples across the surface, or drift quietly. Your freedom lies in the journey, not in whether you reach the sea. In his final years, Serapion spoke often of death. He said humans fear death only because they confuse the body with the soul, and the body is like a musical instrument. When its strings break, it cannot play. But the music does not end, it merely finds a new instrument. He taught his disciples to observe a candle. When the candle burns out, the flame does not vanish, it merely transforms into light, into heat, into smoke. The soul is the same. It never extinguishes, only changes form. It was said that Serapion once experienced an out-of-body journey during meditation. On a quiet night, his students saw him sit motionless. His breath nearly stopped. Later, he opened his eyes and described entering a realm without time. There, all events, past, present, future, appeared simultaneously, like paintings hung on a wall. He witnessed the moment of his birth, his aging, and his departure from the world. He saw his disciples in countless other lives. Sometimes kings, sometimes beggars, sometimes warriors fallen on battlefields. And he said, "All are merely roles, but your soul is the actor. It never dies. Only the mask falls away." From that point, his disciples called him the one who sees through the veil. Serapion then began teaching the art of remembering. He said that everyone has the capacity to recall their infinite essence, though it is buried beneath countless layers of worldly dust. To illustrate, he held a dusty mirror and cleaned it. In that moment, the mirror shone brightly, reflecting the entire sky. Your soul is the same. Its light never disappears, only hidden. When you clear the dust, you will see that it has always reflected the universe. Another time, Serapion spoke of those seeking to pass through the gates of consciousness, using music, breath, or absolute stillness. He called it a journey through layers of waves. Just as a boat leaves the shore, passes through small waves, then larger waves, and finally reaches a calm ocean, the soul can traverse layers of vibration to return to primal stillness. He said it is the place where everything begins and ends, a silence that is also the greatest symphony. Someone asked, "Master, why do we not remain in that silence forever but enter this noisy, suffering-filled world?" He replied, "A melody with only one note is no longer music. Absolute silence is the foundation, but to recognize it, sound is necessary. You come here to hear the diversity of sounds, so that one day you may recognize the original melody." In this teaching lay a subtle truth. Suffering, loss, and chaos are necessary rhythms. Without them, we could not recognize joy, peace, or love. All is dual vibration, like drum and echo, light and shadow. Serapion emphasized, "Do not despise the darkness, for without it you would never see the light." The story of Serapion, Part 4, The Final Legacy. In his final years, Serapion spoke less, yet every word he shared fell like a seed onto fertile soil. One day he gathered all his disciples beneath the ancient cypress at the center of the academy, its roots embracing the entire classroom. He began to speak of the origin of all things, the infinite nature of the universe, and the mission of the human soul. "You have spent years learning to see, to breathe, to remain still," he said. "But now you must understand the rhythm of time and eternity." He took a pebble from his pocket and tossed it into the still waters of a lake. Ripples spread, met, shimmered, and then vanished. "Do you see?" he asked. "Every moment, every action is like that pebble. It creates vibrations, yet those vibrations never truly disappear. They merge into the flow, contributing to the symphony of the entire universe." Serapion recounted another legend, that in ancient times, before stars and the earth existed, the universe was merely a volume of primordial sound, a vibrating rhythm. These vibrations separated, forming energy, creating light, producing matter, and eventually giving rise to all forms of life. He explained that each soul is both its own rhythm and a part of the greater cosmic rhythm. When humans understand this, they realize that every action, word, and thought matters, for it contributes to the grand melody of existence. A disciple asked, "But Master, if all is rhythm, if every soul returns to the universe, what then of conflict, suffering, and war? Do they have meaning?" Serapion smiled, his eyes glittering like stars. "It is precisely conflict and suffering that create awareness. If all were peaceful, you would not know joy or love. Just as trees need wind to anchor their roots, humans need challenges to let their spirits grow. Chaos is not punishment, it is teaching, helping the soul understand its strength." He told of a meteor shower he had witnessed in his youth. Thousands of lights fell, tracing strange curves across the sky. Each star, each moment is a reminder. Everything flows, no one holds on, yet all is connected. Your souls are the same, falling, experiencing, then returning to greater light, to wholeness. Serapion also taught his disciples to communicate with the universe through imagination and sensation. "You need not seek gods or miracles outside," he said. "Look at a flower, a stream, or a gust of wind. Let your heart listen to the rhythm of the cosmos. When you harmonize with that rhythm, you will realize you are never alone, never separate. Everything is one symphony." One day, Serapion led his disciples up a high hill, where sky and earth seemed to merge. He said, "Look at the whole panorama, and see that the walls we think are barriers are merely illusions. Peaks, valleys, clouds all lie within the universe's embrace. When you see this, you will understand that true freedom is not escaping limits, but recognizing that these limits are only the beginning of infinity." In his final days, Serapion left his disciples a spiritual legacy, a record of the principles of life, where he wrote that the soul must learn to listen, to love, to let go, and to return to the source. He emphasized scholarship, knowledge, magic. None of it matters if it is not accompanied by understanding the infinite nature of oneself. Only then do all mysteries become clear. Serapion passed away on an early morning when mist still hovered over the valleys. It was said that his soul did not vanish, but spread like light throughout the land, leaving a radiant energy over the earth, the trees, and the streams. His disciples continued to pass down this knowledge, not through books or lectures, but through living, experiencing, and listening to the rhythm of the universe within their own hearts. Today, the story of Serapion still resonates like a living scripture, that humans are not lost wanderers in the universe, but an inseparable part of it, that all suffering, all joy, all moments are teachers, and that the soul, no matter how many lifetimes it passes through, always turns toward its original light. He taught that each individual can become a seer through the veil, one who recognizes the universe within themselves and themselves within the universe. When this happens, fear disappears, loneliness dissolves, and love, pure unconditional love, emerges like a river of light flowing through every heart. And so Serapion stood amidst the endless rhythm of the universe, where light and darkness, sound and silence, life and void blended into an infinite symphony. He turned to you, as if knowing that every listening heart carried within it a seed of knowledge yet to be revealed. But do not think this is the end, Serapion whispered through the wind. For each question opens another door. Each fading light leads to a shadow waiting to be explored. And what I've just told you is only the beginning, a single pulse of the universe, where countless secrets still await your steps. If this rhythm awakens curiosity within you, hit like, leave a comment to share the wonders you perceive, and subscribe to Mystical Journey Tales so you won't miss the next voyage, where Serapion will guide us to even deeper layers of the cosmos, revealing mysteries one step at a time. Remember, in every moment of stillness, the universe is still whispering to you, and the story has never truly ended.